Welcome to Networking RX, a podcast devoted to helping business professionals like you enhance your networking skills in order to become more proficient giving and receiving quality business referrals and improving the overall quality of your life and the lives of those around you. The Networking RX podcast is a production of AmSpirit Business Connections, an organization whose mission is to empower business success through networking.
Welcome back for another episode. This is Frank Agan, founder and president of AmSpirit Business Connections. You're listening to the Networking RX. It's funny what we find on social media, isn't it? Maybe not so much funny what we find, because when we're finding things, it's not usually, I wouldn't say humorous, but curious, because we're looking for them. But it's funny the things that find us, things that just show up in our feed, articles and so on and so forth. My go-to is LinkedIn. Spend a lot of time on LinkedIn. And this article just happened to show up in my feed. Maybe somebody I'm connected to liked it, whatever. But the article is Tech Latino, or the name of the website is Tech Latino. But the article that they had on their site was called 5 Ways to Introduce Yourself Perfectly in 20 Words or Less. And it offers some templates. And essentially, it starts out where the person who wrote the article basically shared a story where they were asked. They were visiting a friend at work, and the founder of the business came in and basically, what do you do? And they weren't ready to answer. They were taken off, in their defense, they were taken off guard. They were looking in the fridge at the office. That seems a little awkward to me. But I think there are different workplaces out there. And the person says, kind of funny, says, I froze thinking, oh my God, I just want a popsicle. But the point is they weren't ready to talk about what it is that they do. And, so in so doing, what ensued was kind of this awkward mumbling, while they tried to get their bearings as to, okay, I need to queue up my 30-second commercial. And I know some people out there loathe 30-second commercials, and I understand where you're coming from. You're thinking of 30-second commercials that are really pitchy in nature and kind of close with the ask, almost like people who, not all people, but some people will train on a 30-second commercial and want you to put something together that at the end of the 30 seconds is almost kind of a closing statement. Do you want to talk Tuesday, or we want to do the paperwork Tuesday or Thursday? And that's not really a 30-second commercial in my estimation. A 30-second commercial or elevator speech is just somebody saying, hey, what is it that you do? Curious. And what they're advocating in here is making it 20 words or less, and they've got some templates, and I'll share the link to this so you can have access to the templates. But what I tend to do anymore is just kind of go through, what I'll call our short story, AmSpirit short story. We help small businesses and professionals connect to the people, information, and opportunities that help them become more successful. 19 words. Maybe 20, I need to count. But it's less than 20 words. I hadn't read the article. It coincidentally just happens to be that. But it's quick and it's easy, and it allows me to basically share what it is we are doing. And if there's an intrigue beyond that, we can dig deeper. A lot of times people will ask what it is that you do. It's just kind of a polite pleasantry, sort of like, hey, how was your weekend? Kind of a conversation. How was your day at work, honey? Kind of a conversation. Sometimes people really will ask that question, how was your day, how was your weekend? And it's just kind of I don't really care, I'm just kind of throwing it in here because I'm supposed to. And they're not even necessarily thinking that, they're just filling space. And so sometimes when people ask, what it is that you do, they may not really care what you do. And so having a 20-second response might be just enough to move beyond that, or it might be just enough to intrigue them to want more. It depends on their frame of mind, and you can't control that. But what you can control is coming in with that great 20 words or less that's 7-8 seconds, and that's generally people's attention spans anymore. You know, so you want to come up with something quick there. Uh, so what they start out in the article with is they start with 3 guidelines. Always explain how you add value, and they offer they offer some examples here. Rather than just saying, "Hey, I'm an award-winning best-selling author," that doesn't explain how you add value. How you add value would be saying, "I help new authors get published faster." That's where you add value, and as opposed to, "Hey, I'm Mr. Big Shot. I've done this." It's not what that's what you've accomplished. It's more the what. It's not really the how you add value. So you need to think about what are the ways that you add value. This is the precursor to really all the templates that they have here. And the adding value is the thing that is the hook. We help small businesses and professionals connect to the people, information, and opportunities that help them become more successful. We help small businesses become more successful. That's the value. Now the middle part there is can certainly change, and that's kind of part of the templates here. And my short little thing that I just shared with you, we help small businesses, professionals connect to the people, information, and opportunities that help them become more successful, is something I came up with a while back. Actually printed it out on a nice color page. I don't want to say it's framed, but it's hanging on the wall. It's not really a poster. It's 8.5 by 11. But it's there, and I see it often, and it just kind of reminds me I need to continue to practice and get better at that. So moving along, add value. Second thing, speak the way your listener does. So, don't use jargon that they might not say. So the example that the author uses here, he says, one of the things he used to say is, "I can teach you how to speak in a way that ignites you and excites others." And what he shares is that nobody understood. Why? Because nobody really knows what excite and ignite and excite mean. They had trouble connecting with people. What does that mean? And so he went on to basically say that how he rearranged it was as he helps people with something to say when they struggle saying things. Oh, okay, I get that. I struggle with saying things all the time. Somebody catches me off guard with a question. I struggle with it. And so you need to use the language that essentially they might use themselves in their situations. Struggle is a word that people tend to use. Say things that excite others might not cut it. Now I know there are probably people out there that would argue with this, and that's fine. But you understand the point that if you're going to throw out words that people don't tend to use, or don't really understand. Hey, we give people an awesome experience. Well, I don't know what awesome experience means. We allow people to have a fun-filled, adventurous afternoon, hiking, or I don't know, whatever. But you get where I'm coming from. You can't use words. You can't define things in a manner that people wouldn't define themselves. The third tip that they make before they start talking about these templates, getting these templates, is practice. Whatever you come up with, you need to practice. My statement, we help small businesses and professionals connect to the people, to the information and opportunities that help them become more successful. That's something, again, is hanging on my wall. I see it all the time. I tend not to, if somebody's asking me on a podcast, it's hard for me not to read it, just so I get it right. But I've said it so many times that it becomes somewhat second nature. So whatever you come up with respect to these templates, you need to write them out, type them out, put them on the wall like I have done. Put them on a note card that you'll see from time to time on your phone when you have an idle time, just to kind of go through and review. We all have time before we head out to things. Several times a day. a few times a week. We're sitting, maybe waiting on the bus, waiting in traffic, waiting for a call, to be able to devote a minute here and there to getting good at this, getting good at what we have to say. And so here are 5 ways to introduce yourself in 20 words or less. And again, I'll share the link in the show notes so you can go and grab these. But I'll go ahead and review them. First one, I help target audiences. 2, and then you interject a statement of need, and then through what your differentiator is. I help small businesses find the information, or find the people, information, and opportunities. I don't really have a differentiator, but it might be through a proven process, or a patented process, or something like that. That would be the differentiator. Award-winning process. That's the first thing. First one. Second one, I help. These are all well, you shouldn't say these all. The first 4 of the 5 start with I help target audience, or I connect target audience. One of those 2. So I help target audience do statement of need plus statement of benefit. I help target audience, again, connect or network, build relationships so they can become more successful. And again, you just fill these things in. I help target audience. What's the statement of need? What's that need that your target audience wants? I help them become more clear in their writing. I help them become, better public speakers through a 5-minute a day web app or something like that. Third one, I connect target audience to something they want, and then you add to that what's the differentiator. I connect the target audience to great pizza that's with handmade crust, with crust that's handmade every day. That's the differentiator. No frozen products or whatever it is. The next one is I translate, convert a problem into, and then they have in parens something aspirational. I turn busy professionals into effective presenters. And obviously that's way less than 20 seconds, or 20 words. But you get the point. You just have to kind of think about these little plugins, these little templates. If you're a kid, you remember the old Mad Libs, where somebody would just say, "Okay, give me a verb, give me a noun, I need an adjective, give me another noun, give me a verb," and then they would read the sentence based on the nouns, verbs, and adjectives you gave them. It's kind of the same thing. Fifth one, I help target audience fix their problem, whatever that problem might be. Pretty simple. So all of these things, you want to focus on the value that you bring. You want to focus on the language that they speak, how they speak. Don't use jargon. Jargon is a horrible thing, unless you're talking with people who understand the jargon. But generally speaking, jargon sucks. And whatever you come up with these templates, and again, I'll put the link in the show notes. You can just practice it. Come up with it and practice. And you might want to have one for each of these, or just have one, as I have, and get really good at it. But that way you're ready when somebody says what it is you do. You really almost don't even need to think about it. You just fire out. We help small businesses and professionals connect to the people, information, and opportunities that help them become more successful. I may have added an extra word in there. I don't know. I'm trying to go off the cuff. But you get the point. You need to come up with something short, something quick, something you can fire out, something that shows the value you offer, and then practice it and practice it and practice it. And that will help you have a better pitch, or a better way to introduce yourself perfectly as the article shares.
Thanks for joining us on the Networking RX podcast. Please put what you've learned into action today and let us know if you have questions, comments, or ideas for future topics. You can email them to us at podcast@amspirit.com. That's AmSpirit.com. Finally, so you never miss an episode, be sure to subscribe to the Networking RX podcast through iTunes, Overcast, or however you receive your podcasts. Now get out and network with someone.
The Networking RX podcast is the copyright production of AmSpirit Business Connection. All rights reserved.